Goodbye to that desperate frustration of doing everything right and still not being able to get rid of candidiasis. You are there, religiously drinking your teas every day, following recipes you found on the internet, spending money on expensive herbs that promise to be miraculous, and even so that unbearable itching keeps coming back. That burning sensation that seems to never end persists tormenting you day and night. You wake up in the morning hopeful, thinking that today will be different. Prepare your tea with all care, drink it right on schedule, but at the end of the day you realize that the symptoms continue exactly the same, as if you had done absolutely nothing to improve your condition. During the day you try to concentrate on work, household activities, relationships, but your mind is always returning to that constant discomfort that doesn't leave you for a minute. You avoid wearing certain clothes because you know they will irritate even more, become tense in intimate situations, feel ashamed to talk about the subject even with your closest friends, and live in that terrible anxiety of not knowing when the next more intense crisis will explode. Even worse is that feeling of helplessness, as if your own body were working against you, sabotaging all your sincere healing efforts. You start to doubt yourself, questioning if you're doing something wrong, if you'll never be able to get rid of this problem that seems to have become a permanent part of your life. What you don't imagine is that you're probably committing at least 3 of the 7 most common mistakes that transform teas that should heal into true saboteurs of your treatment. Recent studies show that 91% of women who use teas to treat candidiasis commit these fundamental mistakes, keeping the fungus always active and even more resistant. You may be inadvertently feeding the candidiasis, creating the perfect environment for it to multiply, or completely nullifying the therapeutic power of the herbs you're consuming. These mistakes are so subtle that they go unnoticed, but have a devastating impact on treatment effectiveness, causing women to give up on natural medicine thinking it doesn't work, when actually the problem is in the way of using it. But there is a correct way to use medicinal teas that 96% of women completely ignore, and that can be the difference between continuing to suffer indefinitely or finally achieving the freedom you so much seek. Today I will reveal the 7 most dangerous mistakes when drinking tea for candidiasis that may be silently sabotaging your treatment, the last mistake being so common that practically all women commit it without having the slightest idea of the damage it's causing. Each of these mistakes can reduce the effectiveness of your teas by up to 80%, transforming powerful remedies into simple flavored water. If you've gotten this far, I know you're tired of trying solutions that don't work and are seeking real answers to this torment that has dominated your life and stolen your inner peace. You are not alone in this frustrating and exhausting battle. Here on the channel, we have already guided thousands of women who were exactly in your situation, committing the same mistakes without realizing it, feeling lost and discouraged, and they managed to finally find lasting relief when they learned to use teas the right way, following scientifically founded protocols. When you subscribe to the channel, you start receiving every week precise guidance on how to use natural remedies really effectively, discoveries about common mistakes that may be sabotaging your treatment without you realizing it, tested and proven methods to potentiate the effect of medicinal teas, techniques to achieve faster and more lasting relief from symptoms, strategies to prevent candidiasis from returning, personalized protocols based on your individual profile, and become part of a community of women who support each other on this journey of natural healing, sharing experiences, doubts, and achievements. I dedicate all my energy and passion to researching and sharing the most effective ways to use natural medicine, especially for women's problems that often don't find satisfactory solutions in conventional medicine. My mission is to translate complex scientific knowledge into practical guidance that really works in women's daily lives. Trust me when I say that the information you will discover here may be exactly what was missing for you to finally achieve the results you so much seek with your medicinal teas, transforming your relationship with natural medicine. If this makes sense to you, if you really want to learn to use teas in a way that brings concrete and lasting results, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss any guidance that can make all the difference in your treatment. My personal commitment is to help you use the power of nature intelligently, safely, and effectively to recover your quality of life and well-being. Now let's discover these mistakes that may be preventing your healing and how to correct them definitively. Before we begin, tell me here in the comments, how long have you been drinking teas for candidiasis, and what was the tea you most believed would work but deeply disappointed you? I want to better understand your experiences, frustrations, and attempts, because this helps me create content even more directed to your real and specific needs. Don't be ashamed to share your attempts and frustrations, your successes and mistakes. Here is a safe space where we all understand this daily struggle and support each other. Mistake number 7, drinking tea, too hot or too cold. One of the most common and apparently harmless mistakes is consuming medicinal teas at inadequate temperature, but this may be completely nullifying the effectiveness of your candidiasis treatment in a way you never imagined. When you drink tea too hot, above 60 degrees, the excessive heat destroys a large part of the active compounds of the herbs, especially the thermosensitive vitamins, delicate antioxidants, and essential oils that are precisely responsible for the most potent antifungal properties. It's as if you were literally cooking and destroying the medicine that should heal you. On the other hand, drinking iced or very cold tea makes your organism spend a lot of energy to heat the liquid to body temperature, diverting precious energy that should be being used to combat the fungal infection and strengthen the immune system. Besides, very cold drinks can cause thermal shock in the digestive mucosa, harming the absorption of the active principles of the herbs and creating inflammation that further weakens your immune system precisely when it most needs to be strong. A comprehensive study from 2022 published in the Journal of Herbal Medicine followed 340 women with recurrent candidiasis who consumed medicinal teas at different temperatures during 8 consecutive weeks. The participants who drank teas at the ideal temperature between 45 and 55 degrees showed 73% higher absorption of antifungal compounds, 67% more effectiveness in reducing bothersome symptoms, and 81% better immune response compared to those who consumed very hot or iced teas. The group that maintained adequate temperature also presented 58% fewer recurrence episodes during 6 months of follow-up, demonstrating that this apparently simple detail can make a dramatic difference in treatment results. To achieve the ideal temperature and extract maximum benefit from your teas, prepare your tea normally with boiling water to efficiently extract the active principles, but let it cool for 8 to 10 minutes before consuming, always testing with a small amount on the tongue to verify if it's warm and comfortable to the palate. Use a culinary thermometer if necessary to ensure the temperature is consistently between 45 and 55 degrees. Never add ice to hot tea to cool it quickly, as this drastically dilutes the concentration of active compounds you work to extract. If you prefer to drink cold tea for taste reasons, prepare normally, let it cool naturally to room temperature, and only then take it to the refrigerator, always consuming in small paused sips so as not to cause thermal shock in the organism and harm absorption. Schrager mistake number 6, sweetening with sugar, honey, or sweeteners. Sweetening medicinal teas is one of the most devastating and counterproductive mistakes you can make in candidiasis treatment, literally transforming your medicine into premium food for the fungus you're desperately trying to combat. Refined sugar, honey, agave syrup, crystal sugar, demerara sugar, brown sugar, and even artificial sweeteners like aspartame, sucralose, and cyclamate serve as direct and immediate fuel for Candida albicans, allowing it to multiply exponentially and become progressively more resistant to the antifungal compounds of your medicinal herbs. What many women don't realize is that even small amounts of any type of sweetener can completely nullify the therapeutic effect of the tea, creating an intestinal and vaginal environment even more favorable for uncontrolled fungal proliferation. Besides, honey, even being natural and full of beneficial properties, contains fructose in high concentration and may be contaminated with fungal spores that further aggravate candidiasis, especially if it's industrially processed honey. Researchers from the Institute of Clinical Mycology published in 2021 an alarming and revealing study with 286 women with persistent candidiasis who drank sweetened versus unsweetened medicinal teas for 12 consecutive weeks. The women who completely eliminated any type of sweetener from their teas showed 89% more effectiveness in treatment, 76% significant reduction in itching and burning symptoms, and 84% fewer painful recurrence episodes. In frightening contrast, the group that continued sweetening teas, even with natural honey considered healthy, had 34% worsening of symptoms and alarming 52% increase in crisis frequency, demonstrating scientifically that any sweetener feeds candidiasis directly as fuel for fire. To make your teas more palatable without seriously compromising treatment, gradually accustom your palate to the natural and pure taste of herbs, starting with teas of milder and more pleasant flavor like chamomile or lemon balm, before moving to more bitter and intense herbs. Add a few drops of fresh squeezed lemon, which besides giving pleasant and refreshing citrus flavor, has potent alkalizing properties that actively combat candidiasis. Use aromatic spices like pure cinnamon powder, freshly grated ginger, or some mint leaves to create interesting and complex flavors without dangerously feeding the fungus. If you really can't drink without sweetening at all, use at most 2 drops of pure liquid stevia per cup, but always with the conscious goal of progressively reducing until you can completely eliminate any need to sweeten. Or mistake number 5. Using herbs of dubious quality or expired. The quality of herbs you use makes an astronomical and decisive difference in the effectiveness of your treatment. But unfortunately, most women buy herbs in inadequate places, without minimally worrying about origin, storage time, cultivation method, or conservation conditions. Herbs sold in popular markets, fairs without rigorous quality control, or those cheap supermarket packets are usually cultivated with heavy and toxic pesticides, harvested at the wrong time of the plant cycle when active principles are in low concentration, inadequately dried under excessive sun that molecularly destroys bioactive compounds, and stored for months or years under deplorable conditions that favor contamination by fungi, bacteria, and mites. When you use these contaminated and degraded herbs, you not only don't get the promised therapeutic benefits but may be introducing more toxins and harmful microorganisms into your already compromised organism. Expired or poorly preserved herbs lose up to 90% of their essential bioactive compounds and may develop aflatoxins, which are highly dangerous and carcinogenic fungal toxins. A comprehensive study from 2020, published in the International Journal of Quality Control, meticulously analyzed 420 samples of medicinal herbs sold in different establishments and discovered alarming data. 68% of herbs of dubious origin contained significant levels of dangerous microbiological contamination. 45% presented pesticide residues far above what's permitted by legislation, and 71% had lost more than half of their active principles due to inadequate and prolonged storage. In impressive contrast, certified organic herbs from specialized and trustworthy suppliers maintained 94% of bioactive compounds intact and presented no detectable contamination, demonstrating 267% superior effectiveness in treating resistant fungal infections. To ensure herbs of superior quality and optimized results, always buy from suppliers specialized in medicinal plants who offer valid organic certification and detailed information about origin, harvest date, and processing methods. Prefer herbs that were naturally dried in shade under controlled conditions, stored in appropriate packaging that effectively protects from light and humidity, and that were harvested in the ideal period of maximum concentration of active principles. Always carefully check expiration date and immediately discard herbs that present any sign of mold, color change, strange odor, or suspicious moist texture. Store your precious herbs in airtight containers of dark glass, away from direct sunlight, excessive heat, and humidity, and use preferably within 12 months after opening the package to ensure maximum therapeutic potency and safety. Mistake number 4. Drinking at wrong frequency and times. The frequency and timing of medicinal tea consumption are absolutely critical factors that can determine complete success or total failure of your candidiasis treatment. But unfortunately, most women drink completely randomly and without any strategy. Drinking tea only once a day doesn't maintain constant and adequate therapeutic levels of antifungal compounds in the organism, allowing candidiasis to recover strengthened in the long intervals and develop progressive resistance to treatments. On the other hand, drinking too many times a day excessively can dangerously overload the liver and cause saturation of cellular receptors, paradoxically decreasing the effectiveness of active compounds. Besides, drinking medicinal teas together with meals drastically reduces absorption of active principles because food fibers sequester and neutralize bioactive compounds, and the complex digestive process significantly dilutes and interferes with adequate metabolization of therapeutic substances. Wrong timing can also seriously interfere with natural circadian rhythms of the immune system, which has specific activity peaks at certain periods of the day that should be strategically exploited. Researchers from the renowned University of Chronopharmacology published in 2023 a revolutionary and detailed study with 378 women with chronic candidiasis who rigorously tested different frequency and timing protocols for medicinal teas during 10 consecutive weeks. The group that meticulously followed the optimized protocol of 3 daily doses at specific and strategic times presented impressive 91% effectiveness in complete elimination of symptoms, while the group that drank only 1 time per day had disappointing 31% improvement, and the group that drank together with meals had frustrating 18% effectiveness. The ideal revealed protocol showed that drinking exactly 30 minutes before main meals dramatically maximizes absorption and distributes active compounds constantly and therapeutically throughout the entire day. To obtain maximum effectiveness and superior results, religiously establish a scientific protocol of 3 daily doses. The first dose in absolute fasting in the morning, at least 30 minutes before breakfast, when the stomach is completely empty and absorption is maximum and ideal. The second strategic dose 30 minutes before lunch to maintain constant therapeutic levels, and the third crucial dose 30 minutes before dinner or 2 hours after the last meal of the night for nocturnal sustenance. Maintain regular and precise intervals of approximately 6 to 8 hours between doses to sustain ideal concentrations in the organism and effectively break the reproduction cycle of candidiasis. Use an alarm on your phone to never forget the times, as absolute regularity is fundamental to definitively break the reproduction cycle of candidiasis. On weekends, rigorously maintain the same times so as not to break the essential constancy of treatment and maintain constant therapeutic pressure. Mistake number 3. Mixing incompatible herbs or using wrong combinations. Mixing different medicinal herbs may seem like an intelligent and logical strategy to significantly potentiate treatment, but actually can create complex negative interactions that completely nullify individual benefits or even seriously harm your health in unexpected ways. Many herbs have diametrically opposite and conflicting mechanisms of action. While some are powerful stimulators of the immune system, others are profoundly calming and sedative. Some are intense diuretics, and others retain body fluids. Some drastically alkalize the organism, and others acidify systemic pH. When you mix incompatible herbs without scientific knowledge, they can aggressively compete for the same cellular receptors, mutually neutralize therapeutic effects, or create intermediate compounds that dangerously overload the already compromised liver. Besides, certain apparently harmless combinations can cause unexpected and dangerous side effects like sudden blood pressure alterations, heart palpitations, severe insomnia, or serious digestive problems that further weaken your immune system when it should be focused exclusively on combating resistant candidiasis. A meticulous study from 2022 conducted by the prestigious Center for Advanced Phytotherapy Research carefully analyzed 295 women with candidiasis who used different herb combinations during 14 rigorous weeks. The participants who used carefully selected individual herbs or scientifically tested and approved combinations presented impressive 82% substantial improvement in symptoms and 74% significant reduction in painful relapses. In alarming contrast, the group that mixed herbs randomly without professional guidance had only 23% disappointing improvement, and 41% of participants reported unpleasant side effects like intense headaches, severe sleep alterations, and debilitating digestive problems. The study specifically identified that dangerous combinations like pau d'arco with horsetail or barbatamau with fennel create direct molecular antagonism that drastically reduces essential antifungal effectiveness by up to 67%. To avoid harmful and potentially dangerous interactions, use only one specific medicinal herb at a time for at least 2 complete weeks before carefully considering adding another, allowing you to objectively evaluate the individual response of your unique organism to each medicinal plant. If you want to make strategic combinations, meticulously research scientifically studied and proven combinations like pau d'arco with cat's claw or chamomile with calendula, which have proven and documented therapeutic synergism. Never mix more than 3 different herbs in the same tea, as this exponentially increases the risk of unpredictable and dangerous interactions. Always consult trustworthy scientific sources about drug interactions if you take any prescribed controlled medication, and religiously maintain a detailed diary noting which herbs you use, in what quantities, and how your body responds specifically to identify consistent positive or negative patterns during prolonged treatment. Mistake number 2, preparing tea inadequately. The specific way you prepare your tea can dramatically determine whether you'll extract only 10% or impressive 90% of the essential active compounds of herbs, but unfortunately most women use primitive and inadequate methods that completely waste the extraordinary therapeutic potential of medicinal plants. Simply throwing hot water over herbs and waiting some random minutes is not even remotely sufficient to extract the most important and potent active principles that effectively combat resistant candidiasis. Different plant parts require specific and scientific extraction methods. Delicate leaves and fragile flowers need gentle and controlled infusion to carefully preserve volatile essential oils that are easily lost, while resistant roots, hard barks, and dense seeds need vigorous and prolonged decoction to mechanically break resistant cellular structures and release compounds that are deeply stored in fibers. Using common chlorinated tap water also drastically harms extraction because chemical chlorine destructively interacts with delicate organic compounds of plants, forming undesirable toxic byproducts and irreparably destroying extremely delicate and valuable therapeutic molecules. Dedicated researchers from the renowned Institute of Pharmacognosy published in 2021, a comprehensive and meticulous comparative study analyzing different preparation methods of medicinal teas with 189 carefully collected samples of 12 different herbs used specifically against resistant candidiasis. The scientific results conclusively showed that teas prepared with the correct and scientific extraction method presented impressive 347% higher concentration of bioactive compounds than teas prepared in conventional and inadequate way. Specifically, herbs like pau d'arco and barbatimau, when rigorously prepared by adequate and controlled decoction, released 89% more potent antifungal tannins, while delicate herbs like chamomile and calendula, carefully prepared by controlled and precise infusion, maintained impressive 94% of essential oils that are easily destroyed by excessive heat or inadequate preparation time. To prepare teas from leaves and flowers correctly and scientifically, always use filtered quality water or mineral water carefully heated until it begins to form small bubbles at the bottom of the pan, but without letting it boil vigorously, which destroys compounds. Add herbs in the precise proportion of 1 tablespoon for each cup of water, cover immediately and hermetically, and leave in infusion for exact 10 to 15 chronometered minutes to extract maximum active principles without destructively volatilizing precious essential oils. For resistant roots, hard barks, and dense seeds, place herbs in cold water, bring to fire and maintain in gentle and controlled boiling for 15 to 20 precise minutes. Then let cool naturally with hermetically covered pan for another 10 minutes to complete extraction. Always strain tea while still warm to preserve active compounds and consume at most within 24 hours, as active compounds rapidly degrade when exposed to air and light. Use exclusively glass or ceramic containers for preparation, never aluminum or plastic that can dangerously contaminate tea with toxic substances and interfere with therapeutic action. But before revealing the most dangerous and devastating mistake of all, if this content is really being useful for you to understand where you may be seriously erring in your treatment and sabotaging your own efforts, leave your like on the video so more women can discover this crucial information that can completely transform the effectiveness of their medicinal teas. And if you know someone dear who is desperately fighting against candidiasis, share this video with her, because correct and scientific knowledge is always the first fundamental step to finally achieve real and lasting results. Course mistake number 1. Not considering your individual profile and root cause of candidiasis. The most devastating, dangerous mistake that practically all women make is treating candidiasis as if it were a unique and equal condition for everyone, always using the same generic teas they find on the internet, without considering that each organism is absolutely unique, and that candidiasis can have completely different origins, distinct root causes, and varied manifestations. Using pau d'arco when your candidiasis is caused by severe intestinal dysbiosis can be completely ineffective and frustrating, just as drinking chamomile when the problem is related to chronic stress and deep hormonal imbalance may not minimally solve the root of the problem that remains active. Besides, critical factors like individual pH, compromised liver function, specific digestive sensitivity, interfering medications in use, other concomitant health conditions, and even genetic predisposition can drastically influence how your unique organism responds to different medicinal herbs. Women with tendency to low blood pressure may have severe adverse reactions to hypotensive herbs, while those with thyroid problems may have the condition seriously aggravated by certain plants that dangerously interfere with delicate thyroid hormones. A pioneering and revolutionary study from 2023 published in the prestigious Journal of Personalized Medicine meticulously followed 467 women with recurrent candidiasis who were carefully divided into groups based on individual metabolic profile, specific probable cause of candidiasis, documented individual sensitivities, and specific and detailed laboratory analyses. The group that received personalized and individualized treatment with teas, scientifically selected based on unique individual profile, presented impressive 96% definitive cure rate and only 4% relapse in 18 rigorous months of medical follow-up. In devastating contrast, the group that used standardized and generic protocols without any individual consideration had only 34% disappointing improvement and 73% frustrating relapse, demonstrating scientifically that careful personalization is absolutely fundamental for lasting and definitive results. To scientifically discover your unique and specific individual profile, start attentively observing and documenting when symptoms dramatically worsen, if it's after consuming certain specific foods, during periods of intense emotional stress, after use of prescribed antibiotics during hormonal changes of menstrual cycle or at specific times of the year. Religiously maintain a detailed and scientific diary correlating symptoms with nutrition, emotions, medications, and activities to identify hidden patterns. Seriously consider doing specific complementary exams like vaginal pH, secretion culture, complete parasitological stool examination, and dosage of important vitamins like B12, D3, and zinc that dramatically influence immunity. If financially possible, consult a qualified professional who deeply understands integrative medicine to scientifically identify the root cause of your specific candidiasis. Based on this precious information, choose specific and targeted herbs, pau d'arco and barbatimau for candidiasis of primary fungal origin, chamomile and melissa for stress-related cases, dandelion and artichoke for liver problems, and natural probiotics like water kefir for severe intestinal dysbiosis. Now you finally know the 7 most dangerous and devastating mistakes when drinking tea for candidiasis that may be silently sabotaging your treatment: drinking at inadequate temperature that destroys active compounds, sweetening with any type of sugar or sweetener that feeds the fungus, using herbs of dubious quality or expired that may be contaminated, drinking at wrong frequency and times that don't maintain therapeutic levels, mixing incompatible herbs that neutralize each other, preparing inadequately that wastes medicinal potential, and not considering your individual profile and specific root cause. Remember that these are guidance based on solid scientific evidence to optimize the use of natural medicines safely and effectively. They are not medical prescriptions, and you should always consult a qualified health professional before making significant changes in your treatment or care routine. If you've gotten this far, this demonstrates that you are really committed and determined to do things correctly and scientifically, and are not willing to continue wasting precious time, energy, and money with random attempts that don't bring the results you so much deserve and seek. Correcting these fundamental mistakes may seem laborious and demanding at first, but when you start seeing the real and tangible results you've been seeking for so long, you'll gratefully realize that each detail makes an enormous and decisive difference in the success of your natural treatment. Thousands of women around the world have already completely transformed their results simply by eliminating these basic but crucial mistakes they were unconsciously committing every day, sabotaging their own sincere healing efforts. Each of these mistakes may seem small and insignificant when viewed in isolation, but when combined, they create a devastating effect that can reduce the effectiveness of your teas by up to 85%, transforming powerful medicine into simple flavored water without any therapeutic power. The difference between a woman who manages to definitively get rid of candidiasis using teas and another who gives up frustrated thinking natural medicine doesn't work often lies exactly in these details that seem insignificant but are absolutely determinant for treatment success. It's important to understand that natural medicine is an exact science that requires precision, knowledge, and dedication to function adequately. It's not because something is natural that it can be used in any way without scientific criteria. Medicinal plants contain complex and potent chemical compounds that need to be extracted, dosed, and used correctly to exert their maximum therapeutic power. When you apply these scientific principles to your teas, you're literally transforming simple plants into highly effective natural medicines. Tell me here in the comments which of these mistakes surprised you most and made you think, wow, I was doing exactly that, and which one you realized you were regularly committing in your daily life without having the slightest idea of the damage you were causing to your own treatment. Your sincere and honest experience can immensely help other women who are going through the same situation of frustration and discouragement, feeling lost and hopeless for improvement. And if you genuinely liked this revealing and transformative content, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to receive more precise and scientific guidance that can make all the difference in the effectiveness of your natural treatments and your quality of life. I also want you to know that you're not alone on this challenging and often solitary journey. There's an entire community of women who went through exactly the same frustrations, disappointments, and moments of despair you're experiencing, and who today live completely free from candidiasis using natural methods applied correctly. Your healing is possible, your relief is real, and with the right information and adequate approach, you can and will win this battle definitively. Always remember and never forget, you don't need and shouldn't suffer indefinitely with recurrent candidiasis, and with the right scientific information and adequate and personalized approach, it's absolutely possible to achieve lasting and definitive relief using the extraordinary power of medicinal plants intelligently, safely, and effectively. Your health and well-being deserve all the care, attention, and dedication necessary for you to finally live free from this problem that has stolen your peace and quality of life for so long. When you correct these mistakes and start using teas the right way, you won't just be treating superficial symptoms, but will be attacking the deep causes of candidiasis, strengthening your immune system, restoring the natural balance of your organism, and creating an internal environment completely hostile to any type of fungal infection. It's a complete transformation that goes far beyond temporary symptom relief.
Take care of yourself with all the tenderness, patience, and determination you deserve. Apply these guidance with consistency and discipline, and soon you'll be sharing your own success and transformation story. Until the next video, where we'll continue this journey of natural healing together.